what it takes to make our startups successful? That's the first question, right? Everyone wants, we want our ideas to go ahead. We want to grow our startup, or at the end of the day, we all want to even earn money, make our financial, goals meet as well, right? So at this stage itself, while some of us might be ideating and some of us would be thinking about what to do next, or what should I be doing, let's get this point very clear. Everyone would have a very simple question that mujhe startup chalu karna hai to mujhe funding lagega. That's true. Funding is important. It is a very important fuel to plant your startup, or it will help you go ahead. But most important is the timing, right? Second is the team, right? It is the people. Now at this stage, while you're ideating, your team would be your professors, your mentors, your friends who are in your classroom, your parents, your family, brothers, sisters. At this stage, they are the ones whom you would be going back and forth and taking feedback, so you have to also ensure that you are learning from their intellectual capital as well. You are also learning from them as well, right? Then the idea itself, right? Then the business model. Now, for example, say, let me give this as an example. Unfortunately or fortunately, due to pandemic, there was a lot of consumption on OTT platforms, right? Netflix, Amazon Prime, Z5, all of them, got a lot of subscriptions, right? It was due to COVID that everyone was, all of us were at home. We had time to consume content, right? So from a timing point of view, that played a very important factor to make it successful. And same goes for the NetMads, Farm Easy, or whatever, even health tech startups that you are also aware of, right? It was pure timing because everyone was at home. No one would go out and go for buying general medicines. These platforms were there even before pandemic, but what happened? The pandemic accelerated it, right? So the timing is very important. Then the team, the people who would be working with you, as I discussed. Then the idea itself, right? And also remember one thing, most of us might have similar ideas, and the ideas could be similar in any geography in India or around the globe, right? Today we might be thinking of starting something like an online, say, clothing store, or an online consulting store, or a doctor consulting, like a platform like a Practo, right? There is a platform in, say, Ethiopia, Africa, America, working on this, they would have their own platform. But so it doesn't need that idea needs to be completely creative. It has to be completely, unique or different. But the idea has how it is attracting your customers. That is how you should be thinking about idea, whether you would be able to find the customers. That is how our approach should be. And then the business model. Now, for example, Netflix, Amazon Prime, they have their business model is subscription based, right? That is just one way of modeling. Then there are commission based, per order based, like Zomato and Swiggy. They are per order based, right? And then the funding. Okay. So the goal to straight away share what it makes to, what it takes to make a startup success. Let's print this in our mind. If you want to take a snapshot, take it. Because most of the times from an ideation stage, what we try to do is we first build the product, or service, then we go out and take the feedback, and then we try to market it. And that's a trap. That makes our job difficult. And which is fine, sometimes, taking that route also works because, we learn from our failures and mistakes as well, right? But to ensure that you spend less time at the ideation stage itself, always remember, these are the top 5 factors. And the source is Mr. Bill Gross. So Bill Gross is the founder and CEO of about 200 plus organizations. Okay, so I just thought I should share this. But what is it that you could do at this stage, in your classroom, while you're gaining knowledge and education and wanting to, take your startup journey to the next level? In fact, you would be also having your own incubation center. So what is it that you could do in the coming times? Can you just focus on building the team, that is the people you would want to work with? Because startup is not an independent journey. You can't do it alone. You would need people, from clients to people who would be actually also supporting you. It's all about people. Okay, so what is it? Would you spend time in finding the right people who are also passionate in the similar idea, or passionate about solving the similar problem that you are planning to solve? This is where you have to spend time now. Second, the idea, right? Then there are a lot of workshops, like obviously we are going to discuss certain aspects today. Then there are a lot of workshops that happen. We can just visit insider.com, even bookmyshow.com. You can find out a lot of workshops that are happening. So you can also, attend other workshops also from a cross learning point of view, and try to update yourself what is happening in the space or the idea that you're thinking. Okay, so if you focus on at least these two aspects as students, you're already building 60% of your product. Now this is the thought process you will have to adapt to. See, sometimes we do not have control over the timing. Okay, now let me give you a practical example. Now imagine a person who would have invested money in February 2020, who would have thought, okay, who would have started a, say, travel company in 2020, okay, February 2020, and he has invested 10-15 lakhs. Now he or she never expected that pandemic will hit in March 2020, right? Now for him, the same timing worked completely opposite to Netflix and Amazon Prime, isn't it? So the reason why I'm saying is that at this stage, just focus on the idea and team. If you are just ensuring that the idea is right, and how would you focus on idea, how to correct your idea, that we're going to discuss. But I'm just letting you know why this is important. Now, business model is constantly evolve, right? So don't focus on that at this stage. And funding, that's a very common question, that how to apply for funding, where should I get grants, where should I, obviously we will help you know more on where to find it, but that sometimes shifts your focus on actually working on a problem that you are trying to solve, right? And at the end of the day, remember one thing, and if you want to make a note of it, just write it down. Whatever you are doing, whatever product of solving, or however creative it is for the customers. It is for them. They are going to put hand on their pocket or take a mobile phone and Paytm you for your product or service. So remember, you would always build 30% of the product or service. 70% of the product or service is built by the feedback that you receive from the customers. So, which means at the ideation stage itself, where you are planning to create a product market fit or a problems, solution fit, at this stage itself, you have to hear your customers. So, for example, you want to start, say, a restaurant. Okay, just giving an example. Okay, and you want to, start a restaurant which has pizza and burgers in it, right? Ideally, we know that even if you see ads of, say, Domino's or Pizza Hut, they are targeted towards age group of, say, 15 to 35, right? Or 40, correct? Now, that this is your TG. Then you have to go and talk to them. Ask them, okay, what is it that you feel is missing in these pizzas? What is it? Because the idea is not to create a pizza and then, try competing with them. Obviously, you're competitors, but the goal is how different you are from them. That is also very important. And you can use this example and apply it to whatever idea that you're going and you're building. And most importantly, it is important to discuss your idea with your mentors, professors, and your colleagues or your friends, right? but it is equally important to at least talk to minimum 50 people on the solution you are creating. See, whatever, how you will come to say your faculty, your mentors, and and I'm sure your incubation is also going to facilitate a lot of meetups, right? Definitely taking a perspective is very important, but it is even more important to take a perspective from the end user, because they are going to come back again and buy the product or service that you're designing. So it is very critical. So these are the things that which we have seen. Sometimes at this stage we tend to not keep it in perspective. So these are the 5 things, and the customers, remember that while you're at this stage. Okay, now so far, if you have any questions or something is coming to your mind, we want to unmute and ask, feel free to ask, or if you want to put it on the chat box, feel free to do that.
Sir, we will have question answer session at the end of your session.
Perfect, no problem. Meanwhile, if something comes up directly, if you want to put it on the chat box, feel free to do that as well, so that in the last, we will discuss. Okay, so at this stage, while you're thinking about idea or while you're designing your product market fit, right, you have to get your why sorted, which means that you would want to do, say you would want to start a medicine factory, right? If you want to, say for instance, you want to manufacture or you want to start a factory to impact lives, right? So you have to know why you're doing, how and what is like, okay, you want to start a medicine factory. How you're going to do it? You might want to take up a plant, or you want to collaborate with some organizations, but why you would want to do it? What is the bigger mission and purpose? And what is the impact that you want to create? And why it is important, I'll tell you. Most of the times, and it is very natural, okay, whatever we are discussing is very natural, and it is just that we have to be aware, okay? And if we are aware, then it will help us stick to the path that we are planning to take or we are thinking about, right? Now, when we start something new, right? Say for example, most of us would want to go to gym every day, right? Now, there are days where we are pumped up, we like to go and enjoy, and there are certain days where we don't like to go, right? And then sometimes what we happen, we end up not going for a week or a month, and then there is a big gap, right? That is also something that you are starting up, right? Now, if you tell yourself, right, if I want to say lose 10 kgs or 5 kgs, and the reason why I want to do it is that it will help me get a right health, it will help me keep my physical and mental health in shape, and it is really going to create a significant impact in the way I see, or if I'm studying, then it will help me adapt and absorb information faster. So when you do that self-talking with yourself, right, that is what will motivate you next time when you go to the gym to focus and create an impact for yourself. And same applies with your startup idea or startup as well, right? You have to go, okay, so if you want to start say a medicine factory or you have to tell that, what, in next 5 years I want to impact 10,000 lives. Until the time you do not achieve your impact, you enjoy the success and also learn through your failures, which is fine. And remember, nothing goes in a straight line, right? Even greats like Messi, or favorite footballer, or a favorite cricketer you like, be it MS Dhoni, Virat Kohli, or anyone you like, right? It's not like they are performing every day, or they are just growing like this. They also have their share of failures, right? They also go down in whatever activities, professionally or personally, that they do, right? So it is very, very natural to sometimes not achieve what you are planning for. And you have to be ready to face it, because that learnings is only going to help you take a better decision next time. And same applies to your startup. You're working on an idea, you're going out, talking to people, talking to your customers. They may not approve of it, then you will come back and you think, okay, maybe there is a demand for a different product or a service. Then you go back, rework, and then you come back again, and then you might, start getting some success. So that's a constant process. But at the same time, you have to be focused on the impact. Today, due to pandemic, we are planning a virtual session, right? So the impact is to create knowledge and get about what needs to be done to become an entrepreneur. So that has not stopped, right? The route has changed. We are using technology. So always focus on the bigger goal. That is important. Read a lot about what are the startups that are funded in the last 2 years. Okay, very important to know the investment hypothesis, to understand what it takes to raise funding. And the startups will only be funded if the investors feel that customers are going to buy the product. It is not just on the uniqueness of the idea. So if you read this information, it will help you practically address certain queries on fundamentally what you should be doing at the early stage, and try to read about the other startup founders' journey. Okay, that is also going to help you. Network horizontally and vertically. You are sitting in a classroom of say 150 people, 150 students, right? See, not every one of us are going to become entrepreneurs. Let's be honest and fair. But you are expected to wear an entrepreneurial hat even while you're working with corporates. If you're leading a team, in say a company like Practo, right? You are expected to wear entrepreneurial hat, right? So once you network with everyone, try to know more about each other on what are their professional aspirations. All the future CEOs, CXOs, CFOs are sitting next to you in your classroom, right? The power of alumni, you might be aware, because I heard sir talking about a lot of workshops planned being alumni, right? So when you look at your alumni, they were a student, right? So it is so important to network amongst yourself. You might collaborate on creating projects and assignments, but it is also important to know what is the other person wanting to achieve in his professional life. And maybe 5 years later, you get a call, you guys discuss that, what, I'm working on this startup, it is doing good, I would need your support, and it will make your job easy. Ultimately, it's all about people management. Maybe we'll discuss this some other time, but you have to know at this stage itself. Because remember one thing, once your idea stage starts, right, you will be putting this all into the practice. Even to speak Hindi, English, Marathi, whatever language we like, right, we have to learn the ABCD, Kakha, Gaga, so that we're able to interact, right? Similarly, while you're building your startup, it is important to focus on the fundamentals, and we are doing that today. Next, and the most important point, be specific on the battles that you would like to choose, right? There's, unfortunately, there is so much of information overload, and we can't help, all the time our WhatsApp messages keep ticking. We are bombarded with information, right? You have to be wise enough to choose what information you would want to consume, what is the market you would want to try, what is the idea that you feel is going to solve for customers, and just focus on that. You will receive feedback. See, collecting feedback is important. You might receive critical feedback. Collecting feedback is good, but then you have to make peace with whatever you are building, so that you do not lose focus, right? And most importantly, at an ideation stage, right, focus on your personal strengths, right? That is really important, and I'll tell you why. Say you are already started building an idea. Your strength would be writing. Your strength would be, say, finances. Your strength would be managing operations. Once you know your strengths better, right, then you will be able to co-partner, find a co-founder, find a right person with a complementary skill set. Someone who might be good at communicating, someone who might be good at business development, because these are different functions in the startup. So once you see, no, you cannot do everything alone for sure. Mark my words. Initially, yes, you'll have to do a lot of work yourself, and which is good because that is going to make you more skillful and strong. But at the same time, if you understand your core strengths better, then you will always want to get person who can add value by their own skill sets. If I am only good at I'm good at business development and managing finances, and you would hire someone who is again good at business development and finances, then the horizon of the organization or the company that you're trying to build may go down. So, and how do you know what are your strengths? You have to write down. You have to write down in your school, from your school days to whatever you are done so far. What is it that you have consistently been doing good? And every one of us is blessed with a certain strengths. It is not like he is or she is better than me. The world doesn't work like that. Industries doesn't work like that. We all collaborate on our strengths, as simple as that. And earlier, so this is my personal belief, and I would want to share it with you in whatever journey I have seen in the last 10 plus years with startups. Right, gone are the days where we have to focus on our weaknesses. Okay, today in the dynamic world and the way we are moving fast, it is important to collaborate on our strengths. See, if we give you 4 hours, okay, if say you have 4 hours, right, you have 4 hours to improve your strength or 4 hours to improve your weakness, right? So if your strength is here something, and if your weakness is here, right, you might come up to here if you spend your 4 hours in improving your weakness. But if you focus on 4 hours in building your strengths, and you are actually coming above, and that is where you will be able to create more value for your own organization, or if you're taking any other route. Okay, this is what I believe, and that is how you would create uniqueness for yourself. So this is just a perspective, right? You can think over it over the week, and then you can take a call. Yeah. So certain sectors, as I mentioned, that picked up from a timing point of view are technology, pharma, FMCG, groceries, insurance business took up, and overall health sector, right? So this is what I'm saying now. Because of COVID, what has happened is we all have become sensitive on maintaining our health, right? Fortunately, you are in a right stream, which means there is a lot of potential in pharma industry, healthcare industry. A lot of business challenges can be solved, right? So that's you're lucky in that way, because from now, no one on this planet would want to experience another pandemic, right? So now imagine the amount of even government is going to spend on healthcare sector. The entire ecosystem will now revolve around healthcare sector, not only in India, but the globe. So now this is one more opportunity for you all to think in this direction. Okay. So these are some of the examples that startups that took off in the COVID times, obviously purely based of timing. Again, also I mentioned certain startups from the pharma domain as well. Yeah. So how to start working towards an idea? That is where it will help you achieve the agenda of the session today, right? So there is no point having few things on the mind, right? It is always nice to articulate it and write it down, right? It is always great to articulate and write it down. Now, for you, if you want to take a snapshot of this slide, take it. So what is the pain point or the business challenge you are trying to solve? You have to write it down. Who are you solving it for? How are you trying to solve it? Is anyone else doing it? Can you do it differently from them? And can I charge my customer? Now, this exercise is not only going to guide you better, And whatever you write down, it will always help you go back and refer that, okay, this is how I was thinking. Now, let's take this with an example, right? Say, Practo. Let's take an example of a Practo, right? Now, Practo initially wanted to connect and give us access to doctors in whatever domain, in any geography, to for us to consult, right? So their problem was, okay, if say in any part of India, there is no access to a particular doctor, which is a specialist, right? So through the platform, anyone sitting at home can at least consult doctor. Okay, first round of answer. So that is what they're trying to solve. Who are they trying to solve? I'm just discussing. Okay, I'm just trying to help you. Maybe when you will articulate, it will help you. So who are they trying to solve it for? So maybe for Practo, it's like people say from age group of 30 to 50 who are busy in or who are busy in their professional lives, do not get time to visit a doctor because it takes 3 hours of their time. So they can book it online. Okay, how are they trying to do it? Now, Practo is a technology platform, so it is integrated different softwares, integrated video conferencing, integrated customer support, and that's how they have built the platform. Is anyone else doing it? Yes, 1MG is doing it, Tata Health is doing it, they are also doing it. Then how is Practo doing it differently from them? Right now, Practo could be using a completely generation next UI UX, okay, or they are focusing only 2-3 geographies, say that is Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai. How are they? They're just focusing on one geography. Okay, I'm just giving an example. Now, this exercise, you will have to do it back and forth while you're ideating, and you have to take feedback from your professors, mentors, and as and when with the right people, even in your friends and family. And it's always nice to take and hear their thoughts. Okay, and then can you charge it from your customers? If yes, then how much? So Practo today is for free, but it is free for us. But they might be charging no, free as in obviously we have to book appointments, we have to pay. So a certain transaction fee goes to Practo, or else they are also advertising certain medical products on their platform, so they might be charging them. Okay, so that's a different way of revenue. So you have to at least articulate it and write it down. Now, beauty of doing this exercise is that it takes away all the uncluttered thoughts, okay, and makes you closer to the fundamental you should be focusing for. Okay, so you make a note of it. It's a very simple exercise. I'm sure if you do it 2 or 3 times, it will save your 40% of your time. Okay, so this is it. If you have any questions, obviously we'll be taking towards the end, but so that you do not miss, please put it on the chat box. Yeah. Okay. Now, one more exercise that we can do to understand and ensure that we're creating a right product market fit is business model canvas. Okay, this is very simple canvas, and you should be doing it again and again. Okay, so let me directly guide you with an example. Maybe later over the weekend or over this week, you can spend some time, you can Google it. Researching ourselves is also best way of learning. Okay, you now know the concept. Now you know these 6 questions, right? You can discuss with your friends. Now you know what a business model canvas is, right? So you have to write down your organization or your idea, and then you should be writing this. Okay, so we're discussing with an example of an Uber, and I'm sure this is going to help you even again further articulate on structuring your ideation process, right? So imagine if there was no Uber, and Uber is wanting to start their company in India. Okay, so what they would be doing, right? So for them, the customer segment, there are 2 kinds of customer segments, right? One is the car owners, because there needs to be someone who would be driving, and he should be having a car. Okay, and then obviously us, travelers who need transportation, correct? So for Uber, from an Uber, obviously, we are their prime customers. But even someone who is purchasing a car so that he can use the car for Uber or Ola is also their customer. So they are working with two stakeholders, right? Then how are they building customer relationships, right? Rating based, digital, obviously we rate it. So for you, how you would be building customer relationships, okay? Then channel, okay? For them, it is an app and a website. For you, if you want to start a pharmaceutical chain or something like that, then a physical store would be your channel, right? Then revenue, where does Uber feel that they're going to earn revenue or they're getting revenue is through percentage of fees per ride, right? For you, what would be the different revenue streams that you could think of? You have to write that down, right? Then what is the uniqueness? Why is Uber different from a normal Kali Pili taxi or a normal taxi, right? Now, a normal taxi earlier, before Uber and Ola, would not help us know what time you would reach to a new destination. Sometimes we have heard concerns regarding safety and security, okay? Third is that the exact fare that you would be paying. Earlier, if driver is asking for 100 rupees more towards the end of the journey, you have no choice, but you may pay it or you might end up fighting, right? All these problems have been solved by Uber, right? That watch makes it reliable, more convenient. You have an option to pay online. You do not have to go to Uber. Uber comes to your homes and picks you up. So that's the convenience, right? And additional income for the car owners, because they are the one who are going to use the app to earn money. So for them also, if they do say 5 drives in a day, it's an additional income for them, right? So how are you creating value is what you have to write it down. Then for them, who would be the key partners? Obviously, the Google Pays, Paytm, the payment collection would be their main key partners, right? Because that is how they have integrated on their platform also. Then API providers are constantly improving their app. They are their key partners. Key activities, obviously customer support. If there is any complaint that we would want to give, or platform development, how they can design and constantly create an engaging platform for us, right? What would be their key resources? And Uber and Ola is not like a Meru. Like when Meru started, they were booking cabs on calls, right? So for them, technology platform is a must. So tomorrow, if you are wanting to start your own physical store, then a shop is a very important resource. It can't run without a particular physical store, right? So you have to keep that in mind, right? For Uber, it is network of drivers. It is a community of people who are micro entrepreneurs or are in the field of traveling, where they have been helping people travel from point A to point B. So their network is also very important resource. And the brand image, right? So today, Uber positions itself as a very cool brand, right? So that branding, advertising is a very important resource. So it has to connect with their target audience. And then the cost structure. That the cost structure will be on the tech platform, marketing, and obviously the team that manages Uber. So even in your case, even at the ideation stage, you have to write it down, okay? And it is not that first time only when you will write, you will get a perfect business model canvas. No, you might want to write it down, give it a week's time, and then you have to do it again. And you have to do it again and again till the time, at least two times or 3 times, till the time you are very structured in your approach. So first, writing those 6 questions that we discussed, doing that, repeating it for 2 times or 3 times, and then adapting that to the business model canvas, okay? And please read about business model canvas on YouTube. Go and see business model. You might have, I'm sure you might be aware about SlideShare or any other platform where there are a lot of PPTs. Go and read about business model canvas of various other companies that have grown in the last 1, 2, or 3 years, right? And slowly it will come. See, this is not a classroom subject that you have to do A plus B is equal to C or 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. You have to go back and you have to engage yourself in the learning process itself, right? So I hope you'll get some idea about drafting, because you have to repeat it to kind of learn more about how to actually implement it. Okay? And similarly for YouTube. Okay, so I'm just you can see it, how YouTube, for what is important for YouTube. It's the viewers, content creators, advertisers are their customer segments. And people like us, the community is very important from a customer relationship point of view. Their revenue streams, I'm sure all of us see a lot of paid ads on YouTube. So that is how they are earning. Their cost structure is team, data center, managing the data, the video content is very important for them. Key partners, value proposition. Okay. Now, how to actually identify your first customers and where it actually begins, right? See, as I discussed earlier, right? That obviously you would want to validate your idea. You would want to understand more about how this could be a good product market fit and how could I get it to the right people. But at this stage, take advantage by sharing. I'm sharing this with you by sharing what is the solution you are building with as many as people in the network that you have, right? And I'll tell you why. Most of the times we are scared that my idea will be copied by my classmate or someone will copy my idea. This is a very common insecurity that we have, right? Now, we are a group of 150 plus people in this call today. And trust me when I say this, all of us are talented. We all have capabilities as a collective capability of creating a new Facebook or a WhatsApp, right? We all just, if we all put our minds and intellect into perspective, we can create it, right? But is it going to be as successful as Facebook or WhatsApp? That is a question that we have to ask. Why? You know why? Because execution is the key. It is the execution that they are able to expand the way they are today, right? So the reason why I'm telling you this is that should not be a hindrance to identify your first customers, because as I mentioned earlier, you will always build the 30% of the product and 70% of the product will be built by your potential customers, right? Which means you have to start sharing whatever solution you're creating that is there in your mind. Once you do the 6 questions and the canvas with the age group that you feel would be the right age group to target to, and you have to talk to them, at least 50 people. No Google Forms, no WhatsApp links on Google Forms that I took my research and my research says that this product is work. No, you have to actually go and talk. And if due to COVID you're unable to meet someone physically, then on video call, because if you meet some people, even better, right? Because then you'll understand the motivation and you'll understand why the person may accept or not accept the product. If someone is not accepting the product, then you have to write down the reason and what you can do better, right? So it actually begins by interacting with people. See, what we are discussing is fundamental, and what I'm trying to do here is separate the music from the noise. I'm just trying to give you the music. There is, I cannot go gaga about a lot of things and say, no, you should be doing this. No, it is simple. You have to go and talk to the customers, and it begins there. Okay. Now, during the research stage or at a stage where you are validating your idea, right? To achieve what you are looking for is you have an idea, you build a prototype or you build a workable solution, right? That is the product. And then you take it to your potential customers. You will come to know the acceptability, then measure the acceptability, right? Collect the data. If you talk to 50 people, then you have good data to understand whether this will work or not. Then you learn from it, and then you go back again and put it on the ideation stage, right? And you have to do it again and again. Okay. Now let me give you this as an example. Okay. Now, where you have to focus from a prototype or a ideation point of view, right? Now, if you see skates, cycle, car, scooter, all are different means of transportation. That means minimum viable product is ready. All of us are designed to take us from point A to point B, correct? Now it is our decision. If I were to travel from say Bombay to Nagpur, I can either take skates and I can either take that cycle. Obviously the cycle will take me about a week's time, but a car may take me about say 12 to 18 hours time, right? That decision is mine. But as a product, all 5 of them are capable, maybe not practical, but are capable to take me from point A to point B. Okay. So the mistake that we have to avoid is that while we are designing or while we are creating solution, we have to not put features. So if you see above, without MVP, it is the features that has been added, right? So they have added the bonnet, they have added the glasses, right? And most of us want to sell the features. I am creating a new product and my new product has a particular feature, right? I'm creating a new product and this has a, no, you have to create what is the core problem that you are solving, the core benefit, right? Now, for example, if you were to start a actual medical store at your location or anything, or a tech platform, which is completely, disruptive, or a tech platform, you don't have to focus on the feature. My website will open like this. It is going to collect people's data, in a particular fashion. Feature is good, but what is the core? Okay, if someone comes to my medical store, I should be able to provide all the vaccines. My core benefit is the vaccine. It is not the packaging. It is not the, however sweet I am able to talk. No, the core is that, okay, someone comes here. So for example, even in the case of Ola and Uber, the core benefit is it takes me from point A to point B. That is the core. If I order a cab, so now, I'm first, for me, that is more important. And then the cleanliness of the car, security, everything. That are the different features that makes it a good product. But basic is that it should be able to take it from point A to point B. That's the core. So we have to avoid mistakes by focusing on the feature versus we have to focus on the core. That is very important. Okay. So what can be done at this stage? At this stage, while you would want to create and get a, finalize your idea, just give me a minute. You have to focus on reading a lot of reports that I mentioned earlier also. Your story publishes a lot of reports on startups on different industries. Read that. Follow InShots, follow a lot of startups that you have really liked in the recent times. Read about them. network with various communities, right? There are a lot of startup focused student communities. I'm just naming few of them. Okay? Tech stars, seed stars, push start, read about them. Fortunately, your college is coming up with an incubation, an accelerator center, right? So go and help them. Try to create an ecosystem. I'm sure the city that you live is a vibrant system. Go ahead and network. At this stage, create a profile on LinkedIn. Read about a lot of entrepreneurs, that what they are doing. Connect with them. Okay. Visit Startup India website. Try to see what are the various government schemes based on different industries. Try to get yourself updated. That is also going to help you at this stage. Okay. So just before we end the presentation, we did discuss the top 5 factors that makes us successful, right? But at the same time, we have to also know what are the 10 mistakes that can be avoided, right? So remember, the fundamental thing that we have to focus is, as I mentioned, 30% of the product is built by the customers and 70%, is built by us and 70% by customers. So we do not want to build something that nobody wants. So we have to, that's why it is even more important to talk to your potential customers. That's why I've been emphasizing since the beginning. If you talk to them, if you understand and step into their shoes, then you will actually build what they want. What is it that they are looking for? And that will actually, save your time. And this is the biggest mistake that can be avoided, right? Second, here it is hiring poorly. But in your case, as you're building as a student entrepreneur, you have to find the right person or right people to work with you. Okay. And let me be very, very honest. Building a startup is not like a movie, Dil Chahta Hai ya Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, right? It is not like 2 friends coming together and building a startup. Sometimes it works, right? But you have to find right people with the right skill set, with the right intention to build it. That is very important. Yes, we hear stories, 2 friends coming together and building startup. Great, which is great. In that case, you have to talk to your friend openly. Sometimes when we talk to our friend, we feel कि अरे मैं ऐसा बोलूंगा तो उसको बुरा लगेगा, and then we take back our words. Then if you want to engage and involve your friend, then be honest and upfront about your opinion, and also listen to them while they are upfront and honest upon their opinion. If you are able to do that, really a good space to be. And yes, there is a data that shows that when 2-3 friends come together, it helps. But you have to be practical. See, this is how you would be creating a future for yourself. And you would want to use all your resources wisely. So it is my duty to tell you a certain mistake that can be avoided. Third, lack of focus. Yes, every one of us, we had heard as our growing years, right? I was a student myself. I'm sure, all of us would have heard that, there is a lack of focus. We are not focused, which is fine, right? But while you are planning a startup, after 3 months, things are not working. Do not lose focus. It's a cycle. Success and failure is a cycle. Every one of us has to face it. That's the fundamental reality of life. So be aware about it. So be aware so that you do not shift your focus. Okay. Then fail to execute sales and marketing. Brilliant product, but you have to go out and reach out to your target market through different means. We can have a different session where we can talk about how these mistakes can be avoided. But at this stage, it is important to pay attention and keep it in mind. The 5th point we already discussed, not having the right co-founders. I've already shared my thought process there. Then 6th, chasing investors and not customers. See, remember one thing. Anything we do, we have to pay upfront, right? If you want to go to a gym, if you want to watch Netflix, if you want to go for a movie, if you want to go to McDonald's, you have to pay upfront, and then you enjoy the fruits of it, right? Similarly, at an ideation stage, you cannot expect an investor to come in and put in money just on the idea. Investor would want to see how committed you are to your idea. How are you committed even by putting your own finances, be it 10,000, 1 lakh, 50,000, whatever amount, 2 lakhs. Because if you are not, burning your fingers, burning the midnight oil, not burning your fingers, sorry, but burning the midnight oil, then how would other person, other person put their money? So you have to remember that. And at this stage, we cannot always expect our parents or brothers, sisters to put money in our startups, right? If they see, so some of us might be privileged to have a good financial background, and we can take money from our well-wishers and start implementing our idea. But some of us may not be, right? In that case, you will have to really work on developing your idea and then apply for different government schemes, grants. And if you find a right co-partner who believes in the mission and vision, as we discussed, get your why sorted. In the beginning, we discussed about getting your why sorted. It will help you find initial investment. It is not that it is not possible, but you have to commit yourself. In our incubator, I have seen some startup founders, and I'm telling you, I have seen certain startup founders who taking up additional work projects so that they could fund their startup. Working for 4 hours to fund their startup. That is the commitment, because they know that they are building something which is unique, different, and they believe in it. And if I remember, they have actually raised funding also. That particular startup that I'm referring to. Okay, ensuring that you have a good, not have enough money, you have to ensure that sometimes, financial management is very important. Next is failing to ask for help. Now, sometimes, we do not ask for help. That is also a big problem. We have to ask for help. And then ignoring social media. Very important. Once you build a stage where you're out in your business, you have to show and share your progress on your LinkedIn or any other right tool. Okay. So let's focus on first 5 or 6 mistakes that can be avoided. I'm sure the rest will fall into place, right? Positively for you all. Right? So with this, I would like to sum up my presentation. I hope this would have added value and would save your time. All of us are here today giving our 1 hour of our valuable time so that we all can collectively save our time, right? So thank you so much for listening, and over to you, Manishji. Yeah.
So much, sir. I now request and open the session for question answers. So if any student have the question, please raise your hand or put your question in chat box. Yes. Yes. Madhura Dixit ma'am have the question. So you can unmute and ask the question.
Hello, sir. It was a very nice session. Actually, I'm a faculty. I hope I'm allowed to ask question.
You can ask any question, ma'am.
Yeah. So, sir, I wanted to ask that in your presentation, you talked about like the importance of horizontal and vertical networking. And currently we see that we have a lot of girl students in our college. I mean, like 2/3. And also I know that some of them are really interested into entrepreneurship and things like that. So I wanted to ask you that I know that it is easy to network horizontally, but vertically, it might be a bit difficult, like to reach out to people who are in higher positions, doing good, and that too in the context of a girl student. I hope you can understand what I'm saying.
I can understand. Yes.
So what do you suggest for such things?
Sure. So I understand, and it's a good. It's a very practical question that you have pointed out, and I completely empathize with it. There are a lot of women-led startup forums where that could be a good beginning, right? So IIWL is one of them. Okay. Maybe later what I will do is I will share list of 3-4 women-led and women-focused, women community-focused startup forums that encourage women entrepreneurs. So that would be a good beginning. And gradually, as they evolve, maybe then later they can, take their journey from there onwards. But that could be a good beginning for them. So
Thank
I will
you,
share.
sir.
I'll share few in my presentation. If you see, I shared certain communities such as Techstars, Pushstart. They are focused on entrepreneurship on a wider scale. But then if women founders or aspiring women entrepreneurs would like to learn within the community, that is also possible.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll look forward for that details.
So I will share it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next question. Yes, Nayan. I'll ask technical in charge to unmute Nayan Duizor.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
First of all, very good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for officially gracing us with your presence. The session and the presentation was absolutely very insightful for all of us. I have a series of questions to ask and also a couple of a good small little conversation if the host allow me to go for. So we've talked about actually the lean canvas models where we've talked of customer segments, solutions, channels, key matrices, cost structures, and all of those other things. Do you really think so that equally the analyzing the unfair advantages of any lean canvas model or any business model for that matter is important? And if it is important, how do we actually go about it? Like how do we actually focus on the unfair advantages so that we can actually provide the quality of product to our target audience and the customers?
So Nayan, having an unfair advantage is everyone would want to be in that space. Every startup, right? Be it startups that have raised IPOs, Zomato, or any other startup that you see, everyone wants to have that unfair advantage. That is why they will drive their customers, or they would want to, take care of all their stakeholders. So that is very practical, okay? But for you to know more about how you would want to, build on your startup idea, then Nayan, the best thing could be once you complete your business model canvas, then I would be more than happy to give you 15-20 minutes of your time so that we analyze a particular information that you are seeking. And I think we can connect offline or, maybe next week once you finish that, and we can have that conversation.
Absolutely. So like as of now, I don't have any proper lean canvas model ready or, in my mind, but I just wanted to raise a concern about how can we actually go about the unfair advantages and,
figuring
out stuff like that.
Exactly.
Also,
so once, yeah, go ahead with the next
no,
question.
no, sir, please go ahead.
No, I was just saying, once you articulate your thoughts, once you have articulated, because see, what is running in your mind, nor me or nor anyone knows what is the solution you are creating. You are seeing that this is a very big problem in your mind. So once you articulate it, automatically you will come to know, okay, these are the top 2 or 3 unfair advantages. And that is the time when you reach out to your professors or, ecosystem to kind of validate it or get a feedback. But again, after taking that feedback, you have to go to your potential customers and actually check whether this is an unfair advantage that I am thinking at. And that's how you, grow. So, but happy to help you maybe once you finish that. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much. I would be really grateful if you just, give a quality of time for that. Also, I'd like to ask about unique value proposition. Like we've talked of Uber, I guess. Yeah, we've talked of Uber. But when we look on, the unique value proposition of other startups like Google or maybe Zomato, Swiggy, and all of those other very renowned startups, how do we go actually about unique value proposition? Like how to find the best and the, the best possible unique value proposition so that when we are sitting with a lean canvas model in front of any incubator or stuff like that, so that he would be impressed and on a very first go, he would be accepting the fact that, okay, this is the lean canvas model or this is basically the business model we are actually looking for. So how to have a best possible, the unique value proposition of a startup?
So let me tell you, Nayan, an incubator or a support system is a last place where we have to impress ourselves. The only impression that we have to create is in the front of investors. So a role that incubator plays is a role of a doctor, right? a patient, say for example, an early stage. So what is the meaning of an incubator itself? Incubator has come from a medical, it's a term where a new baby is born. A baby is kept in an incubator so that the senior doctors, nurses, and other people can observe, so that baby grows and baby thrives, right? Similarly, in an incubator, it is more, it is like you might come up with a startup idea which is exactly at the stage that you are in. Okay, that is one point. So incubators is the last play, because incubators are designed to support startups. So they would be okay with your strengths and weaknesses, and it has to be like that, because the goal of an incubator is to ensure that whatever thought process you are having, it grows, because it is to support your entrepreneurial aspirations. So that's point number one. Okay, point number two, noting down unfair advantages, noting down USP, and then taking ahead may not be the best approach. You know why? As I mentioned, right, once you articulate your thoughts, or then once you feel that this could be my USP. Now, even in the case of Uber and Ola, the primary USP for them was, I should be able to get Uber and Ola on my cell phone. That's it. Later, once they know, okay, maybe as customers we are taking safety and security also as a USP. Getting to know fare well in advance is also a USP. Oh, it is giving me option to pay via Google Pay or Paytm. That is an USP. But the basic USP was that, okay, anyone and everyone on the planet should be able to get vehicle or transportation online. That is, I'm just assuming that could be their first USP. And over the years, it would have evolved. So once you do that exercise, you have to articulate, okay, this could be 2-3 USPs. Then you check with the customers, and then when you come back, I think that is where you will get a right answer rather than an answer which is planned before. So the one thing good that you raised this point, Nayan, it's a very good question. We have to, I just forgot the term. We have to be careful about riskiest assumptions. We assume some things that we have to go back to the potential customer and get it sorted. And I'm sure, Nayan, at the right time you'll be able to you'll be able to find that. So that's not a challenge here at this stage.
Sir, you've also actually highlighted about being Ola and Uber in your cell phone, and because of which we can actually book it and to go about it and etc. A student like me who is a pharmaceutical student and doesn't have a broad knowledge about technology and is not basically a techno savvy person and cannot even hire a UI UX designer to design me an application or something like that. Also, we've talked of our MVP, that is we can actually spread the MVP through WhatsApp and all of those kind of things. So is it very important to have a platform where is it very important to have a technological or a digital platform for the customers? I just hope that you're getting what I'm actually trying to tell you.
No problem. Yeah, go ahead, complete your point.
Is it necessary to have a technological or a digital platform where I can serve my product and make people aware of it?
Absolutely not. It is not necessary. I just gave an example of Uber and Ola, so that we Uber, Ola, or pharmacy, so that we all can relate to it. Number one. Number two, there could be you or any one of your friends who are in the session may want to start up a physical retail store. That is also a possibility. Okay, what is it that we need to ensure at this stage is, obviously, first of all, understanding our target customers. Second point that you made is about how would you hire a UI UX designer. I know that's a challenge, and that is a challenge that all entrepreneurs in India who would be facing, and that's a positive challenge, which means you want to do something and you're confident about, and you're trying to get resources. Money is a resource, talent is a resource, right? Both of are equally important resource, right? For money, obviously at this stage, because you're a student, you might want to take support of your friends, family, brothers, sisters, friends, well-wishers, correct? Similarly, for talent, at this stage as a student, I also mentioned as well, is that you have to find people who believe in what you're doing. You cannot convince, you may have to even convince, people you feel can add value, saying that let's build this together. And that is a good exercise. This is what you'll be doing till the time, today, even Mukesh Ambani has to convince his top employees to work with him today. So this is a very common problem. And, and you will be only able to solve it once you are in the game, once you start it. But as a good beginning, I would like to share what is it that you can quickly do. You have to start interacting with people who you believe can play their part. You have to first understand your strengths, and then you can find interns. You can connect with different interns on Internshala platform, and there are different platforms where you can network with them. But first focus on the product market fit or the solution that you get, and automatically things will fall into place. As well as your college is coming up with an incubator, right? At an incubator, different startup ideas, different people will come, and you'll be working in a community. And it is always good to then also leverage that. So I think, it will come. Good that you're thinking about at this stage. Yeah.
Sir, this actually brings me on one more question of having a work culture. I don't know.
Just 1 minute, Nayan, before we take this question,
Perfect.
if anyone else would like to put their question or already has any question, be ready. Yeah, go ahead, Nayan. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, sir. This actually also brings me to a point to think of having a work culture. I don't know whether it is a valid point to discuss it with an entrepreneur or something, but I would really like to ask you, for having a proper work, like I would obviously want to work in an environment where a work culture is super flexible and which is very reliable sort of thing. So is it good to have a concept like having a good work culture where we are actually working and where we are actually surrounded with people? Is it actually a good thing to have a mentality to have a good work culture or not?
Absolutely. At this stage, as a startup, right? What do you have? Idea, support system, and the people who would be believing in your idea. So the question that we have to ask is, should I want to be at a work culture, at a good work culture, or I should be the one who should be setting up the work culture? As a leader of your startup, you are also equally important to build a work culture yourself. Obviously, all of us, if we get a good work culture, then it enables us, it motivates us to perform better for a common goal. So if you are planning to work with a startup, I'm just giving an example because, some of us will become entrepreneurs, some of us may end up working with new age startups, or some of us may, join corporates, or all of us will be taking, but from a longer context, work culture is important. But as a startup founder, as I mentioned, it is our responsibility. And see, building a good culture, a work culture doesn't mean that going every Friday for a party and ordering pizzas every Thursday for the team. No, it starts with you understanding the other person's insecurities, you understanding and coming up at the right time when the actual help is needed, and similarly you building a framework where other people are comfortable and open in giving feedback, even as a startup founder to you. In my office where I am currently, I might be holding a particular designation on a place, but if my accounts team has a particular feedback, or if I have done something wrong, I have ensured that they are open to give me critical feedback as well. It is only going to help me and organization as a whole. Now, as a startup founder, you have an advantage to set up that right at the beginning. So we have to become inclusive. We have to build that, and it starts with us. All the big companies that you have heard that are successfully managing their culture, maybe say a Google or certain divisions of Tata, it is their managers or the leaders themselves that they are doing, and it translates. And yes, that is very important, and we have to stand up for that. We can't be over smart with the team that we are working. Gone are the days where we have to play the corporate card. It doesn't work like that. We have to be ourselves. As a startup, you would need them to say be with you for 3-5 years, and you have to build it together. So it's like you have to make them part of your family. And trust me, one more thing, that's a very good question, and I would like to share with all the aspiring folks, is that, there is nothing called as personal or professional life. Yes, professionally you have to wear certain responsibilities and you have to wear certain hats so that you achieve a common goal, because that is the level of responsibility. You are responsible for something for which we are getting paid. But you have to be human at the end of the day, and you have to understand other person's shortcomings and your own shortcomings as well as strengths, so that you constantly, everyone would want to walk up to a new day and come and want to enjoy that day. We want to enjoy, so that is our responsibility. So this is how we should be focusing on. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. I would actually like to conclude the question and also the conversation with you. It was really nice communicating with you. I have already connected with you over LinkedIn, and looking forward to have a great collaborations in future if I have any. Thank you so much for officially gracing us with your presence, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Kamlesh sir, and all the faculty members for ensuring that this event is successful. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nayan, for covering. I think he has covered all the questions right from MVP and to the working culture. And since I think because of his questions and your discussion, we don't have more questions in the chat box. So thank you so much, sir. Here we have with us Dr. Milind Umekar, sir, our principal. So I request principal sir for his words. Over to you, sir.
First of all, thank you, Mr. Sagar, for being with us and guide our students. Your lecture was really informative. Even it motivates me to go for that. And we will definitely start our incubation center at our institute. Your lecture will be definitely helpful for the students, and it will motivate and encourage our students to go for the startups and to share their ideas, and we will definitely help them to incubate their ideas at our institute. So once again, I am very much thankful to the IIC for organizing this session of Mr. Sagar, and it will be definitely as per our plan. We can think for the incubation center in the coming days at our institute. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Milind sir. It was great to connect you, and thank you, Manish sir, for coordinating and ensuring the smooth flow of the session. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Umekar sir, for your words. Now, I am highly thankful basically to Umekar sir for his words and committing about the incubation center which we are having in the future. So I request now Kamlesh sir to just sum up your session with his words.
That time we will take the help of Mr. Sagar.
Yes, definitely. I'm going to request him for the same.
As one of the mentor for our incubation center.
Yes, definitely, sir, definitely.
Sure.
So let me request on behalf of our principal, sir, Sagar sir, that you will be one of the mentor and advisor in our incubation center, and you will definitely help us, for converting our idea to the prototype and to the market level. So thank you once again, Sagar ji, for wonderful and mesmerizing talk. Mr. Sagar has rightly focused on importance of timing on initiating the startup with so many of practical examples like Netflix, Paytm, Vedantu. The timing was very good of this type of startup, and that's why they are successful. He also talked about the teamwork, which according to me is more we and less I. And without teamwork, no one gets success. So in startup also teamwork is important. He also talked about the change of perception and evolution of new horizon in innovation and startup in post-COVID era. He very well explained about the business model canvas, that is, we call it as the BMC, which describes the rationale of how an organization creates, delivers, and captures value, with an example of Uber, a very classic example, and how it is different from other competitors. Let me give one example of Swiggy Genie, which is also a very, very classic example how innovation should be there. After a successful startup, we have to go for innovation in the daily basis. So Swiggy Genie is a very classic example, sir, regarding this, so that we have to, update ourselves in a daily basis. It was very interesting to learn about how to identify our first customer, the 5 important things for successful startup, and top 10 startup mistakes, and this will definitely, learning about what not to do and what to do in any startup. And definitely, sir, this will help in articulating the importance of ideation on a startup of our pharmacy students. So thank you, sir, very much. And take home for me for this type of talk is, first is timing works more than the idea and execution. Second, idea without execution is a dream. And third is customer and end user is important in any startup. So thank you, Sagar sir, for the wonderful talk. Thank you so much.